Hey everybody, Samp&Chance. We are back on this episode of Samp&Chance Wrestling. We're going to take a look at Money in the Bank. John Cena says he's retiring. CM Punk causing more problems. AEW, what's happening over there? All this and so much more on this episode of Samp&Chance. So tune in and thank you for letting us into your ears. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I am your host, Bobby Sampson, joined as always, my man with the master plan, Mr. Chance Michaels. Chance, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. For those who are wondering, we took the week off. We didn't tell anybody. We just needed to recharge. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yourself?
Can't complain, man. Unfortunately, I'm not in my usual surroundings. I'm in my mother's room today, or not her room, but in one of the rooms at the house. A lot of stuff going on today, man. Just trying to make this work. I think we took the wrong week off. It feels like just so many things happening. But hey, man, there's a lot that's happened in the world of wrestling since we've been gone. So let's get right into it. Money in the Bank happened this past weekend in Toronto. We didn't preview it, but we did pick our predictions while we were at the Rolling Stones concert. We'll talk about that a little bit later on here today as well. Let's get right into the card. The men's Money in the Bank. Well, first off, your thoughts on the show itself. What did you think overall?
It was all right. Wasn't great. Wasn't bad. Couple things that stand out to me. Number one, another huge, I know what happens in wrestling, but another huge flub by Damian Priest. 1, 2, 3 doesn't kick out. Just that's bad. That's amateur hour. And the problem is there's no Vinnie Mac in the back to scold him and get him in line. So it's like Triple H, it happens, kind of downplayed it, but that's bad. Look, that's your champion. Can't kick out when he's supposed to kick out. So I don't know if he had a mental fog, what happened, but it overshadowed the show. It's another flub by him again. Mistakes happen, but that's a big one. No, and horrible booking, letting Sami Zayn beat Braun Breaker. Sami Zayn only got over because of the bloodline story. He's a great character there, but he's not over because of his work rate. He beats a young, strong athlete like Braun. Can't make sense of it, but it wasn't bad overall. Not a bad show. Your thoughts?
You know what? Overall, I was okay with the show. I thought I enjoyed it. You know, I did enjoy the show. I thought overall it was good. I mean, for what they were trying to put out there, again, they're doing it right with the time and, the short matches and, the short number of matches and what have you.
I do like that. Yeah.
Right. So I do like that. I had no problem with that. In terms of the two Money in the Banks, you know what? Both were good, but I think the women's was just over delivered. It was so much better than the men's Money in the Bank, in my opinion. The flub, if you ask me, should have taken the belt off of Damian. They shouldn't have continued. That should have been a 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And you know what? If they're going to drop it and put it back on them, they should have done it on Raw, made some sort of angle. It was just stupid because it was just so plain in sight. That's what made it worse. That's what made it worse. It was so plain in sight. If they had a different angle, this and that, but just from the angles that they were showing, you couldn't get away with it. And yeah, playing it down is stupid. I mean, considering the man came into the ring and tore both his quads when he didn't like the ending. This is also the same man who pulled the two guys. Seth Rollins was one of those guys. I can't remember who he was fighting, but Vince pulled Seth and the other guy to the back to explain to him what he wanted, then sent him back out there to do it again. So yeah, I completely agree from that perspective as well. Keeping the belt on Damian after that flub like that was a bad move. But again,
I think another thing I said this before on this last show, it's time to get rid of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, the briefcase. Drew wins the Money in the Bank. He cashed in and loses it already. What a waste of a match. What a waste of a winner. It's already the men's Money in the Bank briefcase is irrelevant now. So why have that pay-per-view? Why let him win just to lose the cash in? I get it. You're building the story of CM Punk, but then let Chad Gable, let Uso or somebody else win it just for Drew to lose it the same night. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean,
time to scrap that pay-per-view and do something different.
All right, well, let's just take a look at the match itself. All right, so Drew McIntyre defeated Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight to win the men's Money in the Bank. Now, based on what you're saying, the only guy that I could see that could have justifiably worked with this could have been either Carmelo or Andrade. Those are the two guys that needed that. Well, Andrade probably more so than Carmelo. He's still young. He's up and coming. His career is just starting, right? I said this to you as well. I thought that the Money in the Bank only works if a heel wins. Because when a good guy wins, it never works out very well for them, right? Because they're
Hmm.
the good guy. You're not going to cheat to cash in or what have you, where the most cases are. And Drew being the heel, winning it, I can see exactly what you're saying, what they're trying to do. But yeah, but at the end of the day, when you look at the guys in this ladder match, really, who needed it except Andrade, probably right now.
I don't trust the guy. I think they think he's just a mid card guy. They would never give it to him. You could have gave it to Chad, maybe even Uso. I mean, but to give it to Drew and let him lose it an hour later, whatever it was, it's just a waste of a pay per view. It's time to forget that pay per view. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Him, Drew losing it is probably a blessing as well. Now they don't have to deal with that for the whole year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they can build off.
Well,
of
that's what I'm saying. They don't
off.
want to deal with it. So just get rid of the whole concept of it. Make another one up, call it something else, and do something different. Because, like you said, they don't got to deal with it now. But the whole point of the Money in the Bank is for the guy to chase around and build a story. There's no story off it. He's lost it. Get rid of it.
Well, I mean, the story, it's kind of built in though, there, Chance. I mean, if you think about it, him winning it, coming out thinking he's going to cash in on it, you know, and then being cheated again. And you know, before we move forward, this is, you know, remember we talked a few weeks ago about, you know, is the World Heavyweight Championship more, you know, have greater importance on it than the Universal? And again, you know, this, like, for me, this proves that that title that Damien holds is bigger right now than the Universal title, because just within that match alone, look how many things happen. Damien retains. Seth is screwed out. He's the guy who gets screwed by Punk again. So you got Punk, you got Seth, you got Damien, you got Gunther now coming up in 2 weeks. You got 4 to 5 different guys who have legit storylines leading towards that belt, which is crazy. On the other side, you don't have anything going on. It's just kind of like.
Thank you for bringing that up. I was waiting to segue that. 3 weeks away from one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, and you don't even have a story for Cody Rhodes. And this is what I keep saying. Wrestlers are not good bookers. Wrestlers can only book themselves. As far as Triple H and Shawn, they're not good bookers because 3 weeks away, your number one star, Cody Rhodes, doesn't even have a match. He's probably going to fight Solo Sikoa, but we don't know that for sure yet. Lock that down. Build the hype. We're 3 weeks away, guys. Your number one champion doesn't have a match. It's insane to me.
Let's look at it from that perspective.
Crazy booking,
saying, but this is the first SmackDown after Money in the Bank. You know, we haven't got there yet, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, but usually matches are set in stone a month, 2 months prior for a big pay-per-view like this. We're gonna go 3 weeks, and then 2 weeks to go. We're gonna fight Solo. Like, build it now.
Not all the time. Yes, sometimes. I mean, this only worked out with the King of the Ring the way it worked out. But normally WWE doesn't book big matches right away like this. But let's see what they do. You know, for all we know, it probably is going to be Solo, and it's going to end in a flub again because Rowan will probably make his return at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where that's probably going to go. All right. Let's just finish off with this one. All right. We talked about this a little bit. Sami Zayn defeating Braun Breaker to retain the title. I get it. It's still probably going to go around Braun, but it just builds up the storyline. Enter Dragunov as well. So maybe at SummerSlam we see a 3-way dance for this title. But yeah, I
when you got a young, strong, fast, legit athlete, which Sami Zayn is none of those things, you take that belt off Sami Zayn. The guy's a comedy show. He's a good actor.
Hey, I get it.
All that. But to let Sami Zayn, he has now beat Gunther clean. Wimpy Sami Zayn, okay, beat Gunther clean, a big tough guy. Now he just beat Braun Breaker clean, a big tough guy. And you guys think the average fan is going to sit there and watch a guy that looks like a slob beat up 2 legit bona fide bad boys? It's not happening. And this is what I'm saying. Triple H and Shawn are booking for hardcore marks, hardcore indie fans, and I can't believe that they would do something like that. Sami Zayn beat Gunther and Braun clean. A wimpy guy like that who could probably pick up a bale of hay is kicking top level athletes out of the door. Sammy's almost 40. These guys are mid 20s. Maybe Gunther's early 30s. And I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's so crazy to watch.
I mean, I get where you're going with it, but you know, it's almost maybe it's better not to, like, eventually these guys are going to be the main guys in the company, right?
But still, though, you got to make some realism, some believability. You look at Sami Zayn, looks like a gardener, and he's beating legit bona fide athletes. Come on.
But the story, it's about the story too, though, man.
No, like, I know, but like it's getting,
right? It's not reality. We know what
too
wrestling
hardcore.
is.
It's too indie.
But we know what wrestling is. So, you know, and I've been thinking.
No, I know it's a work, but it's got to be a little bit believable when you're watching this guy beat Gunther and Braun clean both times.
But that's his story. He's that underdog guy who comes back and does what? I get what you're saying, but that's the story they're trying to
I know, but this is why They can't get the casual guys to tune in and get the Rock. They lost over 2 million people when Rock turned it off. You want to get at least half of those people back. Start thinking out. Like I said, wrestlers are only good at booking themselves. Triple H can't book. Shawn Michaels can't book. Tony Khan can't book. They only book themselves in their wrestling bubble. They don't realize average Joe's watching. Oh, Braun Breaker, he looks cool. I'll watch him. Oh, this guy's beating him up. Click. It's simple as that. And it's so crazy to me.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Didn't like it.
All right, Damian Priest defeated Seth Rollins for the heavyweight championship, which Drew McIntyre, after winning his Money in the Bank, came in, cashed in his briefcase, turned it into a triple threat match. But once again, CM Punk comes and, creates that hassle. Like, this guy is a real thorn in the side of Drew. I love the storytelling here. I love what they're trying to build up towards here. Again, Seth is now involved in this as collateral damage. By all accounts, we should get Drew versus Punk at SummerSlam. But with Seth now, getting involved in all of this again, this is a very interesting concept here. Your thoughts on the match overall, except the flub?
Well, that just makes the match, just ruins the whole match. Right there, he should have lost the belt. So right there, I can't take it serious. That's a bad. Even the indie wrestling guys don't do that. That was a bad move by Priest. I don't know what he was doing. He wasn't listening to the count. I don't know if he had his ear was ringing, but you got to kick out, dude. You were going over.
At that level,
that's bad.
At that level, for them to use the excuse, oh, he forgot. How do you forget? You're in the middle of a fucking match. And you're supposed to get. It's Wrestling 101. It's not even Wrestling 101. It's a prerequisite to Wrestling 101. Learn that, right? So I'm not disagreeing with you. This
has been a couple times that Damian Priest has flubbed big matches, and he's just not a champ.
No,
I knew he was going to win. He's just not a champion. He can't talk well. He flubs a lot. And
yeah, I had fun with the match. I enjoyed it. I thought that Seth is one of those guys. I mean, we haven't seen him in a while. To have him back in the ring, you see the level.
He looks a little bit out of shape though. He's got a little bit of a belly. Yeah, he's gassed out. He's not. I don't know if he's getting comfortable, if he was injured, but he's definitely not training as hard as he used to. I don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe his diet. He definitely was winded. He definitely got a little bit of a pot belly on him. Not used to say. I was shocked. Holy crap! That Seth Rollins used to be in amazing shape. Not anymore.
I think he just needed to let his body heal a little bit, and I'm sure we'll get back to him. Like, look at Sheamus; he's already looking, taut again from when he returned a few weeks ago or a few months ago. But give him time. I like the direction. We talked about this as well. I do like the direction that Seth is kind of taking his character, and we'll talk about that.
And man, those press conferences, I can't watch that. After the shows are on, I'm not going to sit there and listen to them bloviate for an hour or two. Like the Triple H is like listening to paint dry. At least Dana White's exciting. Triple H is so boring and mundane to listen to, all that crap. It's just like, no thanks. I don't even know what he said. I seen a little clip though of him covering for Damian, but like he should say, you know what, this is WWE. We demand better. We demand excellence. We demand, and he just like, no, whatever. It's cool with it. And this is why you see it on the screen, because of that kind of leadership.
All right, Tiffany.
But overall, it was all right. A couple good moments, but yeah, it was okay.
No, I was okay with it. I mean, average at best. But in my opinion, and I said this to you earlier in the show here today as well, if that ever happens, you take the belt off the guy and then find out to put it back on him if you have to, just to save face. The fact of the matter is there is no controversy because of the angle that it's shown at. I mean, that's mistake number one. Why would you even show that angle on television? You can show it from a different perspective. You can show it from a different way to make it. Like, how many times have we seen them? We watch the match, but then the promo package on Raw or SmackDown after the fact, those parts are taken out to make the match look amazing, right?
Oh yeah,
promo packages. But the fact that they didn't do that here, and they're so quick on their feet, man. So from the production truck to the people who put these packages together, they're so fast. It's on them as well. They should have known better, as well as Triple H, as well as the ref. That should have rang the bell. The belt should have been taken off of Damian, given to Seth. Find a way to take it off of Seth if that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Right? But
they
screwed that up. They really screwed up. That's one time I think Tony Khan felt something good about it. All right. Tiffany Stratton defeated Chelsea Green, Io Sky, Naomi, Lara, Valkyrie, Zoe Stark to win the women's Money in the Bank. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I found the men's Money in the Bank to be okay, but it wasn't great.
No,
this was a good match. I know where you stand in some of these things, but man, these girls worked their asses off. They took some serious
Well,
spots.
I'll say the women's match was better only because the right person won. The men's match was a waste of a Money in the Bank. Who should never won that. So yeah, I agree with you. The women's match was better just because of how it ended. Tiffany
I
won.
told
I'm
you,
good with that.
and Tiffany Stratton was the right one. I thought
Absolutely.
Tiffany or Chelsea should have been the two people who won this match, right?
Yep. They made the
Speaking of
right call
Chelsea
there.
Green, that spot, man, that she took off the ladder, landing in those two tables was insane.
Oh yeah, she
Respect
felt
to
that.
her.
Oh yeah,
Respect to her for that one.
absolutely. That
Respect,
hurt.
respect to Io and Zoe for doing that move off the top of the ladders onto that one. I mean, the men were playing it safe. It felt like these girls were putting everything on the line. Like they took
Well,
some
Drew's not athletic enough to be in a Money in the Bank. He's too big.
Well, I mean, guys like Drew and Big Show should never be in these matches because they don't really need to walk up it. And the other thing from the men's ladder match that kind of pissed me off a little bit, they got to time things better, man. The timing was off. Like, okay, look, the Chad running up the ladder as fast as he can, gets to the second to last stop, looks back because his man's not coming for him.
I know, that was
And
bad.
stuff like that, like the average viewer won't notice it, but I pick it
No.
up and we've seen enough of these, right? They got to work better in with their producer, their booker, in order to get this timing down.
I
Because
think what you're seeing now, you're starting to see the cracks in the armor. You're not seeing any fear of being reprimanded, any fear of discipline. You walk back, oh, it's okay, better next time. There's no like, hey, what the fuck were you doing? Like Vince would say, come on, this is my product, this is my show, this is my business. You got to do better. And now it's like, oh, it's okay, do it better next time. Okay, boss, and then that's it. And you're starting to see that now in the promos and in the in-ring product. A lot of flubs, a lot of miscalculations because there's no taskmaster there to keep these boys in line. And sure, they love it better this way, but you see it affects the product, right? So.
well, that's why we tune in every week to see what we can find good and bad. The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and now this one kind of surprised me, but it didn't surprise me. The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga against undisputed champion Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens, 6-man tag. You know what? Just it was all over the place. There was really no rhyme or reason. I think the storyline here was to show how powerful Junior or Fatu is. That guy's a beast, man. I can't, like, he kind of looks what Umaga should have been in terms of just the way he's portrayed and everything. Like he's still an animal, but he's still civilized, where Umaga was just animal. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited for Jacob Fatu and what he's gonna bring to the table here. Solo gets the win, he pins Cody, which is interesting. But I see what they're trying to do here, build up the storyline. Let's talk about it, man. We weren't on the air for this. No Paul Bearer.
I got to say one thing about the match that I thought was a huge letdown. There's about 6 to 8 minutes. I'm not sure the exact time about that. But they just beat on Kevin Owens while Randy and Cody resting. We don't need to see that for 6 to 7 minutes of you guys beating the crap out of this guy. He's out of shape. He's out of breath. He looks like a landscaper. Why so much focus on Kevin Owens getting the beat down from these guys in the match? I thought was a bad booking of the match. I didn't like that at all. Took away from it, I thought. Like you said, it was all over the place. These guys were out of rhythm. Cody, Orton, and Owens, they don't work well as a threesome. They just don't have any chemistry. They're throwing 3 random guys together, throwing it at the wall and hoping it's a bloodline. They're a little more cohesive. They work a little bit better. But these 3 guys I know it's a random team, but I don't think there's even any need for this kind of match. I don't get it. I just don't understand what they're doing.
Well, I think I know what they're doing. In my opinion, this is what I think they're doing. You have so much going on at Raw right now, where you have too many storylines to work with. You know what I mean? We're over here on SmackDown. I'm getting the sense they're just waiting for everything to come to SummerSlam. So for the last 3 months, they basically just trying to do whatever they can to get to this program here at SummerSlam, where things are going to start to pick up again for Cody in the direction that they want him to go into. I don't think they put enough effort or energy, in my opinion, to build a better storyline, because even I'm annoyed by it, right? And
they have no good writers.
Everything.
That's the problem. They need writers in there.
That is the problem, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not telling you I have a solution, but I recognize the problem, and I think this is what the problem is that they're putting so much emphasis on what's going to be coming in the next 2 or 3 months, opposed to looking at what's happening right now in these 2 or 3 months, right? And that's the problem. The other problem I found with the show, and I'm only calling it a problem, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but that crowd was shit.
Well, look what they were watching. I don't blame them.
No, I get that, but the crowd was shit. Only the reason is that there was so much pressure on them. I mean, when they're coming out and saying, "Yeah, France was this," England was this, Saudi Arabia was this, and then you come back to North America, to your domestic
But
market.
the only reason, like I said before, the only reason England and France crowds are so hot, they barely get wrestling there like this.
I get that. I get that.
That Money in the Bank, like you paid a couple $100 for that. You're thinking, man, this isn't that great. It's a lot of money spent, parking, food. You know, it adds up. You could spend $500-600 going there with everything, and then they put out the product like this, where the champion can't even kick out in time. Sami Zayn is beating up crazy athletes, and they expect people to be excited about this. Like, what world are these guys living in?
No, I get you, man.
Fantasyland. I've said it before, not just picking on.
What is wrestling though, man? We know what it is.
Writers, wrestlers are not good bookers. Simple. They never have been. From Kevin Nash, even my Bill Hogan, they're not good bookers. They can only book themselves. And Ari Emanuel needs to realize that and do something, because this is insane what we're seeing weekly. Flubs, bad booking, bad promos. I don't know what's going on back there, but something needs to change.
Well, just to be fair, flubs are happening across all platforms, on all programs,
but not your world champion not kicking out. I can't even remember that happening.
No, I get that. But I mean, you know what? Look,
flubs happen. I get it, but when your champ can't kick it a 1, 2, 3, that's a bad look.
No. And
another flub was in that Money in the Bank match when who was it? Tommy went to hit Buddy in the balls there, and he missed him. And hit him again. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we're seeing because there's no discipline back there.
Pangaloa in the Bloodline match.
Yeah. There's no. That's what I'm saying. There's no discipline. There's no fear of, hey man, what were you doing out there? It's like, okay, do better next time. And haha, we all get along and have a happy family. But the product is not translating to a good product.
Yeah. So. All right, but that was basically Money in the Bank. I think we shit on it pretty good. Besides all the shit that we put on it, what did you give the show? I gave it a 7 out of 10.
6.
6, yeah.
It's because of some of the things that happened. The Damien thing, the Sami Zayn thing.
I get it.
Sami freaking Zayn. I can't believe he's beating Braun and Gunther clean. What a world.
John Cena announces his retirement on this show. This guy's all business, you know. John Cena is that kind of guy that I really appreciate. He came out, no tears, nothing, straight up. I'm retiring. Like, there was no build up to it, and I like how he's doing it. He's doing it in the cool way where he's going to be around. So maybe after Peacemaker's done, he's going to have his last run with the WWE. Maybe we see him win the world title here or something to get number 17. Who knows? But John Cena says that after WrestleMania 41, that's it. He's done. And I really believe him. I think he's that one guy who says that he's done wrestling. We
say that about everybody. They always have another match, right? Michaels did it, Flair did it, Taker did it.
Yeah, I get it. But I think he's that he and Michaels are the closest to get there, and Michaels would still be retired if he wasn't pushed into it.
Yeah, but he still did it though, right?
He did it. Right? But I think, you know, if I'm not much of a betting man, but I put money down that Cena's probably done if he says he's done.
Depends how much money they offer him. There's a couple ways to look at this. Number one, it's kind of like all of a sudden he wants to retire. And I get he's like 46, 47, right? And there's nothing else for him to accomplish. But to me, I think he's the same age as CM Punk, maybe a year older, but not much. Way better shape, way better athlete. I think one of the reasons, and I don't know, who knows? I think one of the reasons he's calling it a quit, he doesn't like this new regime. He's a Vinny guy. He doesn't want to sit there and listen to Ari and Triple H and Nick Khan and all these guys. He's way ahead of these guys, wrestling-wise and career-wise. So Vinny's not here. Let's wrap it up. They're going to give him, he will win the belt. He will beat Flair's record because they're already calling him. The first Triple H said Roman was the greatest of all time. Now he's telling you John Cena is the greatest of all time. So everybody's the greatest of all time to these guys. But Cena will get the belt. He'll win 17. And he'll get a big send-off at WrestleMania, which is good because it builds some hype for the Vegas show, right? So it's a good idea.
That's the thing. Well, I mean, okay, I want to piggyback off of what you said. I mean, if you think about it, Cena is the last of the old regime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, everything that was good, considering where Cena came in, like, you know what? I would have to say he is one of the top 3 guys in wrestling, in my opinion, only for the fact that he ran that company at a time where wrestling was at its lowest.
Yeah.
Right? And on top of that, if you look at Hogan's run, if you look at Stone Cold's run, if you look at Rock's run, even, you know, the 3 guys that they say gave life to the business when it was almost dead. And Cena would be the 4th guy in that. But if you look at the 4 of them, he had the longest run. 10 years he was on top.
The only thing that there's a few things that Cena didn't do. Never went heel, so we don't know how he would have did. Hogan was one of the best heels and baby faces ever. Cena never went heel. Vinny went, let him. I get it, but it would have been cool to see how he would have done. I think he would have done great. That's what
I
like
think he would have been an amazing heel. I think he would have done equally just a great job as Hogan would have done, in my opinion, based on the time that we're in now.
The only thing I'm worried about now is who are these fools gonna book him with? They're gonna drop the ball with this one. You got something real special, one of the greatest of all time. Let's say top 5 greatest of all time. And you got to book this right. You got to get the right partner, the right story. I don't know what they're going to do. I just got a feeling they're going to flub it.
Well, let's before we get negative on it, let's see how it starts, and we'll go from there. But I hear what you're saying. I hope John has enough input to create his own path.
I think he will.
Right, and if he does, if he has that path, then yeah, we're looking at something special here.
Could be. I hope it's done right, because it's going to be special.
Well, we got time, right? I mean, there's a lot of time between now and WrestleMania, so let's see what they do.
Yeah.
You know what? Best wishes to him. I've enjoyed him. He, like I said, he probably had the hardest run of all the other guys, in my opinion. Because just looking at the state of wrestling when Cena came in and what he took over and how he got over and what have you, he had the hardest road to sow.
He also, because UFC was getting popular, that's what killed it, right?
Well,
he was right at that time, right?
But to maintain and do what he's doing at that level for 10 years, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory, Cena's retiring. McMahon's going to be free in about a few months of everything. I still believe that McMahon's going to do something, and this might be just. You never know, man.
He's got the money, but he's not going to try to compete against what he created.
Dude, there's enough people who will go over with him.
Oh, he could easily make a great company.
I think he got the money. I think he will.
Why would he want to compete with something that he made, right?
I think that's his ego. That's him.
No, because he like he says, he respects it too much what he did. He created this. Nobody else created this. So he's like, he doesn't want to go against that. He'll do a business, but he won't do wrestling.
Well, like I said, I think we're going to see something from McMahon in 2025. Maybe he's not
wrestling. He'll do a business. I don't know what it will be, but it won't be
something.
Wrestling.
And with the amount of money that he has, he's no shortage of funds, man. In fact, he might even.
He could easily pull it off. But why would you want to compete when you created all this? The greatest wrestling company ever. You're the greatest promoter ever. Why?
The same reason Vince McMahon did anything he's ever done.
No, but he sold it off. He thought about it. He sold it. He picked the partner he wanted to sell it to. He had all his ducks in a row. He knew the lawsuit was going to keep coming. I even said on the show once he sold it when he was TKO's chairman. It was a matter of time before they got him out of there. He knew that. He made the Netflix deal. He knew it was coming. We all knew it, and he won't do wrestling.
I hope he does. Okay, a little bit of AEW. So, what do you want to talk about, my man?
Just talk about Dynamite.
MJF turning heel. They needed that one, so I guess we're seeing Ospreay becoming more of the baby face. He's asked for his release from the Down Callis family. I don't know how that's going to play out, but it looks like Ospreay is going to be your number one baby face now, and MJF is back where he belongs as the number one heel. Yeah. I think that's a good move. If you think about it, AEW's got 4 of their major players back now. You got MJF back. That's been gone for a while. Britt Baker made her return as well. So MJF and Britt Baker are 2 of their homegrown talents that were actually making names for themselves and doing good for their company. So you got them back as well. Jack Perry's back as well. He's been back for a little while, but I don't know if this is going to make things better or not. But I mean, the show itself is just so still.
It depends. They got some good talent, but they don't have good writers and good bookers. So, it's like they're spinning their tires in the mud. I will say one thing: better match, the best match of the week, even better than Raw. Anything I see on SmackDown was Daniel Bryan versus Pac. That was a really good match. I think they outworked everybody from Raw, SmackDown, any match that I've seen. They went hard. That was a pay-per-view quality match. They weren't really. It was a really good match.
They work hard, man, and that's the thing. Daniel Bryan works hard, right? I mean, or Bryan Danielson, right? I mean, they all work hard when they want to. But unfortunately, it's the eyes. It's not enough people seeing those matches who want to get invested. And the problem here is very simply lack of storytelling and lack of reason for making me want to come back and watch again.
Well, and that's true, but lack of believability.
Well, I mean,
all these indie guys flipping and flopping around, and people like, well, after a couple matches, like no story is huge, but like it's got to be believable. When guys are wrestling certain people, it's got to be somewhat of realism. I know it's a work, but it's got to be a little bit believable, because if you're not believable, you can't invest in it, and then you're not going to want to watch it. And until Tony Khan understands that, he's going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, no, I get that. And that's the problem with AEW. I mean, overall, you got 3 programs. You got Dynamite, Collision, and they got the third one as well, right?
Rampage.
Rampage. Between the 3 shows, I don't know, like, and I'm watching the product. I watch it on Wednesdays now. You know what I mean? Like
I don't
before.
watch Rampage, but
Well, no, I'm trying because I'm trying to invest into it so I understand what's going on. But they're not making it any easier because outside of maybe 1 or 2 things, the rest of it's put together on the fly.
yeah.
Why is this guy fighting this guy? Why is she fighting her? Well, what's the catch here? The
Mhm.
only things that make sense in AEW right now is Osprey and MJF.
Yeah.
And the man that's lost in all of this is your world champion, Strickland. Swerve. Where is he going now? Right? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on with it?
It's crazy.
And then,
So crazy.
and then where does Danny Garcia fit into all of this in the last few weeks? Right? So I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me that way. Like, why
But
am I
it
turning
makes
it on?
sense, Tony Khan, because he's doing this strategy on purpose. He's doing it in indie style. No stories, just match, match, match. No storytelling.
Brother,
Let's have
if
a
he
match.
keeps doing
That's all he
this,
cares about.
if
5-star
he
ratings.
if he keeps doing this, 5 stars ratings mean shit to
But to
TV
him,
executives.
it means a lot, though.
I get it, but at what point these TBS is not going to stick around for much longer, man. On Saturday, I get it. Collision was going up against the pay-per-view. Okay. 0.8 was their rating. Their second lowest rating they've ever had. Right?
Until they realize you can't just book guys that look indie. Like,
The only thing I'm
nobody's
thinking that Tony Khan is hoping for is that because of what WWE is doing in January, that's going to open up the entire field
yeah.
for him to pick wherever he wants to put the programming on. Because even though, for the most part, WWE is the highest rated program on Friday net on cable, right? That's Fox losing that, it's going to be huge. Same with Sportsnet here in Canada. Losing all their WWE program is going to hit them and hurt them a lot in the long run because of the revenue. And well, no, dude, you look at the numbers. I'm telling you, I'm not.
They'll put on this more sports. They'll find a show. But
They'll
I know what you're
find show,
saying.
but they'll never get those ratings that they're getting. USA Network, you can put all the fucking Law and Order you want on. You can put all the things that you want to put on. After the Olympics, their ratings are going to go down like nobody's business once this goes away.
Well, I want to see the
This
numbers
is
for
why.
6 months. How many people bought a subscription? I don't think it's going to be like people think. Bought a subscription for Netflix just to watch Raw. I don't think it's going to be quite like they think.
You know what? I think
We'll
everyone
see.
already. Well, but here's the deal: everyone already has a subscription to Netflix, right? I mean, it's already a given. I don't think there's many people out
Well,
there
that's the
who
thing, though.
don't.
They want new subscriptions. They're not making any money if we already have. They want you to sign up just because of Raw.
This is why they started
See.
doing all the things that they're doing, man. Netflix themselves, like you're not hearing about it, but quietly they're changing things in the back of their thing as well to stop. Like, okay, for example, I'm going to tell you how they're doing this. Okay, you have a Netflix subscription?
I don't know.
You don't, so you don't watch Netflix.
I'll get one for Raw just because of the show. But other than that, I mean, here's a question people have to realize: is Raw worth, what is it now? What's the net subscription? $14, $15? What's the number on it? Like something like that? 12?
Yeah.
Is Raw
It
worth
depends
15?
on what package you buy, man. I remember Netflix used to be fucking $4.99. Now it's $9.99 for just an individual, like a very simple package.
Yeah.
The package I pay for is $19 only because.
Okay. So there you go. So is Raw worth $20 a month to certain people? And to the hardcores, it is. But to the regular guy that flips through the channel, watches The Rock, they're not going to pay for that. They don't care. Like, it's not there, whatever. Out of sight, out of mind. So this could backfire on WWE.
No,
We'll
but the other
see.
piece is here. Okay, like my point that I was trying to make here, I asked you if you have Netflix. You said no, right? There's a lot of people who don't have Netflix, but what are they doing? They get one guy they know who has a subscription, and they all use his login. They're combating that now. So, for example, and I'll be honest,
I know what you mean. You can't share the passwords and stuff. Yeah.
you can't share the password with anyone. Like I was sharing with my sister, to be completely honest, right? But now she had to either I pay more money on my subscription so she can use it, or she has to get her own. So I think this is the way they're combating it. Same with the Zone. They're doing the same thing, right? Like all these
but for Raw, it's about, and Netflix, about how many subscriptions can you guys bring us extra? We're paying you all this money, so you better have your fans buying these subscriptions who don't have them, and they better be lots of them, because if not, it's a waste of money. We'll see. I don't know what the number will be.
I think you're going to see an early influx of that happening, because the whole library is going to move there too, right? It's just not that you're tuning in for the program. You will have the entire library at your disposal as well. So that will be helpful. That's the selling point. Oh, I want to go back and watch some old school wrestling. You'll have all of that, right?
But the WWE needs to realize something. You're banking on the hardcore fans. They'll watch any wrestling show you put on. They'll share. You can put Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, and they'll sit here and tell you it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. But the regular guys looking at that, they won't watch that. You need the regular guy that buys WrestleMania, that goes to WrestleMania with the kids to get your Netflix subscriptions for Raw. And if you don't have that, it's not a win. I don't know what will happen. We're going to find out. That's what I'm saying. I want to see it, what happens with the numbers, because it's going to be go either great or bad.
We're a few months away. I'm actually excited for it, because from what I'm understanding, they're going to drop a lot of the PG stuff, and we're going to, get more grittier content and what have you. And
but that won't matter if you don't have guys that can act it. I've been noticing this, and on AEW and on Raw and SmackDown. Some of these guys, they're like high school in their drama class. They're so bad at their acting. The promos are so bad. So you can make an edgier content, but if you guys can't deliver a good promo or believable characters, they won't mean anything. So they have to sharpen their tools.
Let's see where they go with it, man. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful it works out. I'm hopeful, things turn around, but let's see. I mean, right now it is what it is. But before we go here, I wanted the point that I was trying to make to you here with AEW. We didn't touch on Raw this week, but there's two things I wanted to talk about very quickly. One, you and I are in agreement. Seth Rollins, CM Punk promo to kick off Raw last night was pretty decent.
It was good, yeah.
Right, that was a good one,
because Seth brought a little bit of realism to it. You're frail, your excuses.
Yeah, and I like that one comment. You are the smartest, dumbest guy I know.
Yeah, which is true.
Right,
it's true about that guy.
But I thought it was a great segment. If this is the Seth Rollins that we're getting, I'm excited for it.
That's the best version of Seth. If he can stay like the burn it down Seth, a little bit of edge, a little bit of cockiness.
And I think this is what we're getting here.
Seems like it.
This is a Seth who chases. And if this is chasing Seth, it's much more like this, right? So I'm looking forward to what that is. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is Mommy's back, and the only reason I want to mention this is as high school and playground the Judgment Day is, and their days are numbered, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're done.
I'm tuning into Raw next week because I want to know what happened.
The only thing I like how she came back. The only thing I didn't like is how can that be your main event? Selena Vega, what's her name? Valerie Velcry. What's her name? Ray?
Selena Vega and Ray.
Selena Vega and Rey Mysterio versus Liv and Dom. That's your main event. That was cheesy.
That was the only main event to bring her back. Right? I mean, that main event was curated and created only.
No, I know why they did it, but like
right. But I'm just sharing it for everyone else so they know that as well, right? But the fact that when I turn off Dynamite, I'm like, okay, I'll just tune in on 7:00 because we have to, because we don't have to, but I choose to. When I turned off Raw last night, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I can't wait to see what Rhea has to say. If you go to WWE right now, they've listed her as a babyface. The rest of Judgment Day are still heels. So that's an interesting thing there too. I don't know if that was a mistake by their people in their social media department.
No, that wasn't a mistake. They're very sharp.
Right? But you never know. Like I'm just saying, right? Because I mean, the rest of her crew are all heels. She's a face coming in.
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
And man, they're kind of dropping the ball with this Wyatt Six stuff. It's kind of they had such a good thing going, and it's kind of like the Bo Dallas is walking around the office. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of losing its steam.
Like
I said,
I don't even think they even have any steam yet, man. They haven't done anything yet. They've just had, they're just trying to build that up. And
here's a good question for you before we end the show.
Sure.
And I love Shawn Michaels. He's one of my favorites, but I have to. He's a bad booker, and so is Triple H in my book. But can you name one wrestler? Because I can't. That was actually a good booker. Because I can't think of any.
Kevin Sullivan.
Can't name another one. Exactly. Exactly. This is my point. Wrestlers are not good bookers. They can only book themselves. Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they can book themselves and they're great what they do, but they can't see the big picture because they're stuck in their wrestling bubble. They can't sit in the crowd with a guy at the beer watching this down. But Vinny could, Eric Bischoff could, certain guys like that could, but these guys cannot.
Bless his soul, Pat Patterson.
Yeah, there's a few, but not many though. Not many.
No, I get it. But all the good ones, any wrestler that was a good booker came from the 80s, the 70s.
All the best bookers were non-wrestlers. That's what I'm trying. That's my point of getting across.
Yeah, but no. Most of them were bookers, though. Dusty was a booker. They're all bookers, right? The only reason, because of
they weren't that great at it, though.
Right, but because WWE is such a machine, of course you're going to have different things. But throughout wrestling history, majority of the guys.
No, I know, but that doesn't mean they're good. I'm talking about when the business, when like late '90s, early 2000s, when the wrestlers weren't booking anything. This is when the business is booming. You put these guys in charge. They book for themselves.
Were the main bookers for WWE for the longest time were Pat and Vince.
Vince Russo, Ed Ferraro, these guys, Eric Bischoff. These guys are smart
from the beginning, right? Ferraro and those guys came in after it took off.
And right? Look what they did. The best ratings of all time.
But they still had to go through Vince.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So Vince is smart to put non-wrestler guys in a spot, create some ideas. I'll tell you if it's good or not. We'll work together, put out a great product. Now, the wrestlers are writing the shows.
Russo truly was when he went to WCW because he couldn't get shit done there.
Because they didn't have the same working environment. But what I'm saying is, like, when you got Triple H and Shawn Michaels writing your shows, you're screwed.
There was no one in WCW to tell him no.
Well, there's more to it than that. But either way, what I'm saying is when Shawn Michaels and Triple H are running your two main shows, and you're in big trouble.
Look, dude,
and I love Shawn, but as a booker, NXT can't watch it.
You know what? NXT, I've said this to you before, and I implore you to watch it, bro.
I tried, I just can't sit through it.
Half the time, it's better than Raw and SmackDown.
I gotta watch Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite. That's what 8 hours of wrestling a week. With the way this is going, is like that's and plus a pay-per-view. I got up to 12 hours a week of wrestling. I'm not going to sit through Rampage and NXT. There's a bunch of guys I've never heard of.
You and I both, brother, man. But hey, this is what we do. This is what we do, brother. I am so glad we are back in our chairs.
Yeah, it's good.
I was happy to take the week off, but I was itching. I just not touching my laptop, not touching the computer in any way. It felt really weird. Opening up the box and doing my thing felt beautiful. So we're back, baby. I'm so glad to be back in the saddle here. Very quickly, do we want to talk about the Stones that we saw on Friday?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Rolling Stones was last Friday. We went to it. I mean, unbelievable. Mick Jagger ran and moved around, steps, whatever you want to call it, dance, an equivalent of 12 miles. 80 years old. Voice sounded great. Band was good. It was a great show. Screens, crowd, everything. It was an amazing night.
Yeah, no, overall, I thought the show was really, really fun. I mean, it was just a lot of nostalgia, obviously. And like I said to you, just listening to Mick sing for his age and for his cardio, he put a lot of these young dudes to shape. Like,
kills them. They can't even compete.
Right? Even bands that we both like, he puts them to shame.
They couldn't even carry mixed bags.
The one thing I did say that I did recognize, and if anyone's out there who disagrees with me, let me know. I think the one thing that Mick Jagger did smart throughout his entire career, now I'm not saying that when he was 20 years old and he started this, that he'd be singing for the next 60 years. One thing that Mick Jagger has done really, really well is he's preserved his voice. He's always sang in the same tempo. He's never rushed his voice. He's never hurt his voice. Because of the style that he sings in, which has enabled him to be, able to carry the notes from when he was 20 to when he's 80 now. Guys like Axl Rose can't hit those notes anymore.
Well, no, because his songs are a lot harder to sing, but I get what you're saying.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Same with Bono. Like when you listen to Do With or Without You, there's parts that he can't do anymore.
And same thing, Bono's songs are hard to sing. I know Mick was smart. He kept it in a good register where you can get to it.
Like you look at death metal bands, you never see a death metal band do a reunion tour when they're in their 50s or 60s because they've just shaft the shit out of their voice. So, great show. One thing I noticed, there's no pyro.
No, that's right. I'll say another thing about Mick is part of being great is longevity, right? You have these other bands 4 or 5 years, they were amazing. Well, that's great and all, but this guy's done it for 60 years. You didn't, whatever the reason, death or singer went away, whatever. Because you put it all together, nobody's done what he's done. Nobody will ever have a run like this again. You're never going to see an 80-year-old man move like it. Let alone people. Some people don't even live this long. Let alone do
that's the
that.
reality of it. That's the reality. And the other thing that I wanted to point out to you, and I said to you when we sat down in our seats, I said, "Wow, this is a real simple set. Like the layout of the stage and everything around it, very simple." But then the show started, and I never forgot to tell you why that stood out to me. It stood out to me because the emphasis was on the music. Right? They're confident in their abilities to perform.
Oh, dude.
And whatnot, that they didn't need pyrotechnics, they didn't need flashy gimmicks or lasers and things like that. Take nothing away from bands that use those things, but
They don't need it.
This was a very like it was a big show, but it was a very simple show.
You know, yeah, dude. I like how they had the stage so Mick can run this side, then a long ramp up the middle. We can run up the ramp, like, yeah.
And the backup singer, that girl, and I know, that's what she's supposed to do, but she was phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
She really stood out. I really enjoyed watching her as well. Her and Mick working together was phenomenal. And I don't want to put any shade on this show in any way, but I think you and I both agree. I love Keith Richards, but maybe one song, not three.
Yes, too much. I agree.
I hate to say it, but that was the bathroom break of the concert.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Simply put. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be negative, but that was probably the only thing that I would have said that, hey, that's when you want to go buy your beer or take a leak.
100%.
All right, brother, man.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up. I got to get going. Appointments to appointments. Nothing ever stops here. So, hey, you know what? I'm Bobby Sampson. He's Mr. Chance Michaels. Welcome back,
and in the words of the great AC/DC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. And people, I have something I want to say here to everybody, very simply put, never stop following your dreams. Never stop working hard. I stopped working hard for 1 week and it hurt. It hurt inside because I felt like I wasn't doing something, even though I was. This part of my life was empty.
Yeah.
So that just proved to me that you just got to keep working hard, keep putting in that hours. Most importantly, remember this: do things to change your lives. Don't do things to justify your lives.
Yeah.
Samp and Chance are out.